Astros. But if you're looking for some O, we'll take you to Milwaukee. Two of the NL's highest scoring teams clash when the Phillies try to bash the Brew Crew. And don't look now, but the best record in baseball's in Tampa Bay. The Rays are rocking. Don't sleep on Seattle as Ichiro and the Mariners come to town. So snooze on your own time. Fox Saturday Baseball starts right now. Welcome to the Budweiser pregame show on Fox. Budweiser, it's what we do. We are in beautiful San Francisco under cool, crisp skies. The Astros come rolling into town to take on one of the best pitching staffs in the game. We are ready for an arms race on Fox as a two-time Cy Young Award winner Tim Lincecum battles Roy Oswalt. Lincecum leads the majors with 64 Ks, while Oswalt has been steady with a 2.63 ERA. And with that, hi everybody. We welcome you to San Francisco for Fox Saturday Baseball. It is presented to you today by Budweiser. In just a few minutes, some of you will see if the freak, Tim Lincecum, can improve to 5-0 as he takes on the Houston Astros. Most of you are off to Milwaukee for a power surge. Ryan Howard and Prince Fielder, they each went deep last night in the Phillies win. No big shock since they combined for 91 homers a year ago. The rest of you are off to Tampa to see the best team in the bigs. Evan Longoria and the Rays face Ichiro and the Mariners. Ichiro is going for his 7th straight multi-hit game. But back out here in San Francisco, all the news is about the two men on the mound this afternoon, Roy Oswalt and Tim Lincecum, two of the best pitchers going in baseball. In fact, let's get to know who the best in the bigs can't stand facing on the bump.
I would say that the best pitcher I faced was Pedro Martinez when I first got called up. Boston Pedro Martinez. That was a battle.
There's one guy, and he knows this. Every time I see him, I always act like I'm scared of him. BJ Ryan. For some reason, I cannot hit him. He throws 3 pitches. I swing and miss 3 times. He looks at me and laughs. I look at him and laugh and go back to the dugout.
I can tell you one pitcher that I think is the best out of all of them, and it's because he only throws one pitch. Mariano.
I would probably say Oliver Perez. One minute he'd be up top, one minute he'd be down low. I mean, I just always struggle against Oliver Perez.
Jason Jennings. Yeah, that dude just wears me out. Unbelievable. He wears me out. Wears me out. He knows it too. He knows if he come in the game and I'm up, he know that's an out already.
Maybe Randy Johnson. That's a guy I'm glad he retired.
Randy Johnson. You know, for me, he was definitely, a guy being left-handed. You have to really bear down. Maybe one of the greatest left-handers of all time.
Lincecum by far. Great changeup, great fastball, great everything. Just all around great pitcher. Somebody you don't want to face every day.
Matt Kemp, aren't you lucky you're in San Diego today and not in San Francisco? Because look who's getting ready to take the hill. It's Tim Lincecum looking to improve to 5-0 and getting ready for a freak show here in the city by the Bay. Yes, we are standing by as the Giants get ready to battle the Houston Astros. Most of you will see the fighting Phils in Milwaukee to battle Braun Fielder and the rest of the Brew Crew. And the rest, we'll see if Ichiro and the Mariners can best Evan Longoria and the Rays. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Budweiser, is next. 7-0 against the Houston Astros this season, and it's all happening today on Fox. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast booth alongside Eric Karros. I'm Chris Rose, and a great starting pitch-up matchup for you this afternoon. In fact, Eric, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the batters call in sick with lincecumitis or Oswalditis.
Well, I'll tell you, this is a day that I'm glad I'm up here in the booth and not out on the field. These are two of the best right-handers in the game. Tim Lincecum has won 2 Cy Young Awards. Roy Oswalt, 5 times he's finished in the top 5 in the Cy Young Award voting. Really, this year, their records are not indicative of how they've pitched. Oswalt, 2-4. He's had 7 quality starts. And Tim Lincecum, 4-0. His last 3 games he's left, got a no decision.
Well, this is a rematch of a battle that happened back on April 5th in Houston. It was opening day. Tim Lincecum, 7 shutout innings as he won back in 2010. Roy Oswalt pitched pretty well that day, giving up just 3 earned in 6 innings. But can he get the best of the Major League leader in strikeouts? First pitch coming your way from San Francisco. Next. And he is getting ready to face this starting lineup for the Houston Astros, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. They are dead last in runs scored in Major League Baseball. Michael Bourne's going to try and get it started in the right direction, followed by Kaz Matsui. Lance Berkman is heating up. Carlos Lee still struggling, but still in that 4 spot. Hunter Pence, an outstanding May. He is followed by Pedro Feliz, Humberto Quintero behind the plate, Tommy Manzella, and then Roy Oswalt out on the mound. Tim Lincecum, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, looking to improve to 5-0 this season. He leads all of Major League Baseball with 64 strikeouts, just 10 walks this year. And Eric Karros, give me a scouting report other than this guy's really good.
Well, that's obvious, but he got to get a decision. His last 3 starts, he's gone out with the lead, but didn't get the victory. The Bourne ultimatum, that means keep Michael Bourne, the leadoff hitter for the Astros, off the bases. The middle of the lineup for the Astros, been swinging the bat pretty well, but the top hasn't been getting on.
And a quick reminder, this game is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of the thirst inning, the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with crisp, clean finish. Budweiser, it's what we do. spectacular afternoon for baseball here in San Francisco. The Giants have won the first 4 meetings of 2010 against the Houston Astros. And Michael Bourn stepping in to get this thing going. He has been in a little bit of a slide lately. Average down to 286 and not exactly going to get healthy against Tim Lincecum. He's 1 for 11, 5 Ks lifetime against the right-hander. Bill Welke behind the plate. His brother, the crew chief Tim Welke, out at second. Mike DeMuro and Jim Reynolds filling out the umpire crew this afternoon. There's a wide one. If you're a guy like Michael Bourn and you have struggling numbers against Tim Lincecum, is there anything you do to change your approach?
I don't know if you really change it. I mean, your approach should be pretty similar for just about every type of pitcher as a leadoff hitter. Go up there, try to see some pitches, show bunt, keep the infield on their toes.
Swing and a miss there. It's 2-1.
And that's one of the things about Michael Bourn. He's got such great speed, but unless you're using it when it comes to getting down base, it doesn't do any good.
Well, the Astros all up on the top step, so getting a good look at Tim Lincecum, who is 3-0 in his career against the Astros. And now have a full count.
Shoot, I was going to say there on the top step just to get out in the sun. A little cool today, but you get out in that sunshine, it feels pretty darn good.
Ball fouled away. Started off a little cloudy this afternoon in San Francisco. 50 degrees out there. A little bit of a blustery wind, 11 miles per hour.
It's a warm 50, though. A warm 50.
Yeah, warm, solid 50. The 3-2. And there is a leadoff walk. And here's the defensive alignment for the Giants, brought to you by Scott's. In the outfield, it's Torres, the Gold Glover Aaron Rowan, Nate Scherholz in right. He's got a gun. Ryan Rollinger getting the start for Pablo Sandoval, out with a bad hook. Uribe, Downs, Huff. Molina, the 2-time Gold Glover, behind the dish for Tim Lincecum. So now Michael Bourn, who's gone 10 games without a stolen base, in part because he's struggled so much at the plate. He is obviously a threat to run. 11 for 15 in the stolen base department. And he draws a throw as Kaz Matsui, the switch-hitting second baseman, steps in. One of 3 players in the starting lineup, not including Roy Oswalt, who's batting under 200, and that's been part of the struggles for the Astros this year.
Well, and it's one thing to have a low batting average, but the on-base percentage is poor as well. I mean, we always talk about the batting average, but sometimes guys may have a low batting average, but they walk a lot, so the on-base percentage isn't that bad. But these Houston Astros, they're not hitting and they're not taking a base on balls, thus not getting a lot of runners on base.
And Lincecum a little bit off in the early going. Bourn, a guy you're going to want to keep your eyes on. As I said, 11 for 15 in steals this year. 61 stolen bases a year ago. And it is 2-0. A little odd to see Lincecum this wild early. That one catches the corner. Bruce Bochy, re-signed in the offseason by the San Francisco Giants to a 2-year deal. 4th season in San Francisco. Drafted originally by the Houston Astros back in 1978. We are even at 2-2 after that breaking ball.
Well, and that's the thing about a guy like Tim Lincecum. He can be a bit erratic, as you mentioned a bit earlier, and then come right back and put 2 balls right on the corner. And I think right now with the Astros, they've got to make things happen, though. They can't sit around. You've got Michael Bourn down at first. The Giants have had some struggles trying to defend against the stolen base. Tim Lincecum, guys are 4 for 4 off of him this year. This is a great opportunity to try to make something happen, especially against a pitcher of this caliber.
The 2-2, there goes Bourn. Ball's in the dirt, and he's got it easily. So now number 12 in the stolen base department for Michael Bourn.
You see Bourn getting a good jump right there. Again, it makes all the sense in the world to try to put pressure on this Giant ball club with a Tim Lincecum pitching. You're not going to have a lot of opportunities. You get Bourn down at first base, an excellent speedster. Again, as I mentioned, the Giants have had struggles defending against a stolen base. Now you've got him in scoring position.
The 3-2, swung on and missed. The 65th strikeout this season for Tim Lincecum as he leads the majors.
See, it's one thing to have a bad batting average, but it's another thing to have just completely unproductive at-bats. And in that situation, you got the veteran Matsui up at the plate. He's got one thing to do. That's pull the ball, get Bourn to third base. Just really a feeble swing right there, and really representative of the Astros' struggles this year.
One guy who's not struggling is Lance Berkman. He has reached base in 13 of his last 22 plate appearances. And he looks at one wide. Berkman slowed. He missed the first 12 games of the year following knee surgery and spring training. Said he felt good when he came back. Balls just weren't dropping, and now over the last few weeks has really heated up.
Well, it's just as you mentioned, being out for spring training. And, you know, it's one thing to feel healthy. It's another thing to try to get your timing back, to get into the flow of the game. I think that's what's happened for Lance in the last couple of weeks. He really started to swing the bat well.
Ball hit to Huff, who gloves it. And there's 2 down as Bourn moves on over to third. Hey, you want to see your name on the air? Play MLB on Fox. Tune in to win now. It's foxsports.com/tunein. So all you have to do is make your predictions during today's game between the Astros and Giants. But you want to hurry because your predictions have to be submitted by the end of the second inning. Stick around to increase your chances of winning with the 7th inning. It's the big bonus question, Eric Karros. Winners will be announced on the air during the 9th inning. That's foxsports.com/tunein to play right now. You want to announce the winners today?
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Let me know by the end of the second inning.
I'll let you know.
Carlos Lee. This is a guy who really epitomizes the struggles of the Astros this season, hitting just a .192. Smashes one foul.
When you talk about his struggles, but again, just even that ground ball that Berkman just hit, if Matsui has a productive at-bat, that's a run. You know, it's 1-0, you know, now Lee's up at the plate. They can't do it. Now it falls on Lee's shoulders. And he struggled all year long.
That ball gets away from Molina, and Bourn is going to score. So the poor at-bat by Matsui does not cost the Astros, as Lincecum's wildness leads to the first run.
It really did. I mean, this pitch right now, if you see the way Molina tries to block that ball, he should probably turn his glove the other way. You know, try to block it, smother it. He tries to backhand it. If you look at his glove, see how he just tries to backhand it. You've got to catch that clean. If you try to smother it, at least you keep it in front of the plate. The runner can't score.
Molina, a 2-time Gold Glover behind the dish. And it is the second walk of the inning given up by Tim Lincecum. And that'll bring up one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball, Hunter Pence. Pence has homered in 4 of his last 5 games, including last night. Team leader with 6 home runs. He's gotten that batting average up to 256. So it's Berkman and Pence that the Astros have finally pointed in the right direction. It's Lee that's still struggling a bit. But he is on first after the walk, and Pence looks at a strike.
Yeah, this kid's really been swinging the bat well. 4 home runs in the last 5 games. See what he's done in the last 10. But again, we can talk about the middle of the lineup, and whether it's Pence or Berkman, or even if Lee gets going, you need that top to get on. And just as today, Bourne gets on. And
oh, they had Lee go in the wrong direction and nearly had him picked off at first. I don't know where El Caballo is going on that one.
Well, I think he's figuring nobody's paying attention. Maybe he can sneak a stolen base. Try and make something happen. You know, look at, he's just trying to contribute in one way or another, trying to get yourself going when you are struggling. You know, and whether it's doing something on the bases, trying to make a great defensive play, you just want to feel like you're going to contribute.
He's not going to be confused for Lou Brock over there anytime soon. No. The 0-1. Ball hit to center. Rowan draws a beat. And that'll do it, but the Astros get on the board thanks to a little wildness from the Freak. And the Giants down 1, taking their hacks at Roy Oswalt. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Aaron Rowan struggling, still batting leadoff, followed by Andres Torres, who had 3 hits, including a triple last night. Aubrey Huff moves up to the 3-hole. Benji Molina in the cleanup spot. Juan Uribe, followed by Nate Scherholtz, Matt Downs, Ryan Rollinger, and Tim Lincecum to finish it out against Roy Oswalt. Just 2-4 this season, but 7 quality starts this year. What do you see in the 32-year-old, Eric?
Well, I see a guy that's throwing extremely well. He just hasn't had a lot of luck this year. He's got to be pitch efficient. In his last 3 starts, he's thrown a minimum of 114 pitches. So he's been the workhorse, and he's got to get over his demons in this ballpark. He has struggled, has an ERA of about 4.5, 3-5.
Speaking of struggling, the guy at the plate, Aaron Rowan, has seen his average dip to 266. He is 0 for his last 16 with 5 strikeouts. Rowan hasn't had a hit since the game-winning home run up in New York last Sunday. Ball hit to right center. Pence back on it and squeezes it for out number 1. And here is the Astros defense, brought to you by Scott's. In the outfield, it's Lee, the Gold Glover, Bourne in center, and Hunter Pence in right. Feliz, a solid third baseman, played here in San Francisco for 8 years. Then Manzella, Matsui, and Berkman. Humberto Quintero getting the start behind the plate, and Roy Oswalt out on the mound. Andres Torres, last night 3 hits, a couple of doubles, a triple as well, and the dirtiest jersey that I've seen in a while as he was sliding all over the place on the base paths. Hits one to center. Bourne gloves it for out number 2. And this is normally where you would see the Kung Fu Panda, Pablo Sandoval, but last night got hit, I guess you could say, on one of his paws in the 8th inning. He is available to pinch hit. It was Jeff Fulcino that got him. X-rays were negative, but Bruce Boccia said, you know what, we're going to give him a little time off, so he is going to not be in the starting lineup for the first time this afternoon. But he is available to pinch hit later. So that means Aubrey Huff steps in, a 285 hitter. Pablo Sandoval actually could probably use a day off in May. I know he got a few hits last night, but still, this hasn't been his best month as a big leaguer.
Oh, and really today is first game this year where he is getting the day off.
Huff looks at a strike. Huff with 4 homers, 18 RBIs. His first year in San Francisco. Signed a 1-year, $3 million deal. The Giants were hoping that Huff and Mark DeRosa as key free agent additions would be enough to push them to that NL West division title, and it still might be, but we'll talk about the problems that DeRosa has had with physical ailments. Huff hits one back up the middle. Manzella hasn't played perfectly, and that'll do it as Roy Oswalt gets all 3. Can I have one of your 4 rings, Mr. Montana? It's 1-0, Houston. Built for tough. And by Pepsi Refresh Project. Thousands of ideas, millions in grants. And here are our 4 keys to today's game.
For the Houston Astros, they've already started. Top of the lineup has to get on. Michael Bourne got on, scored. Ride the horse. We're talking about Carlos Lee, El Caballo. Middle of that lineup, he's got to get going at some point. San Francisco, no extra BP. They didn't take batting practice yesterday in the cages. They did on the field, but none of that extra stuff. They went out and scored 8 runs. And energy, need energy at that top of that lineup. That's why Andres Torres is in there. Had 3 extra base hits last night.
But Roy Oswalt shut him down on just 9 pitches in the bottom of the frame. So Tim Lincecum back at work, down 1-0 against a former Giant, Pedro Feliz. Hitting just a $154 in May and .217 overall. swung on and missed. He fooled him there. Feliz brought over in the offseason from Philadelphia, where he went to consecutive World Series. Guy who had some power while he played with the Giants, 4 straight 20-homer seasons. Out here in San Francisco, that's no small feat.
No, this ballpark is a big ballpark. I mean, the only player that I know that ever made it look relatively small is Barry Bonds. But Pedro Feliz, you know, he's a guy, again, that, you know, the average isn't there, but what's more troubling is the slugging percentage isn't there, the on-base percentage, and he's slugging .296. And this is in a Houston ballpark that is real conducive to hitting. So that's what's so puzzling about the ineptness of this offense so far.
Can you say slugging and .296 in the same sentence? It really is kind of oxymoronic, isn't it? And Feliz stays alive. Originally, Pedro Feliz was signed in 1994 as an undrafted free agent. Played almost 900 games with them, parts of 8 seasons. Lifetime .252 hitter. He's also part of that team that went to the 2002 World Series and lost to the Angels. There he hits one to Uribe. And there's one down. Well, tomorrow NASCAR on Fox will bring you Sprint Cup Series racing as Jimmie Johnson tries to defend his title and take home the checkered flag for the 2nd straight year. Coverage of the Sprint Cup Racing Series presented by Budweiser at Dover International Speedway tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific in high def on Fox. You ever been to Dover?
I can't say that I have.
Okay.
That's the capital, though, right? Dover?
Yeah, I believe
Dover,
so.
Delaware.
Dover, Delaware.
I think I
right?
learned that in 5th grade or something like that.
That's a different show on Fox.
Do you host that?
No, I don't. Seacrest turned that one down, too, so they gave it to Fox for it. Humberto Quintero ahead on the count against Lincecum 2-0. You surprised to see Tim Lincecum fall behind this many hitters early?
Right now, obviously struggling with his control, but the one thing about Tim Lincecum is he will throw a lot of pitches. I mean, throws an average of about 110 a game. He's going to be a workhorse, and just as he can have one of those innings where, like we saw in the first 22 pitches, he can also have a 6 or 7 pitch inning.
Now there's ball 3. Well, since the start of the 2008 season, only Justin Verlander has averaged more pitches per start than Tim Lincecum, and everybody's always so worried because of his fragile build, if you will, for a big league pitcher. In the hole, Uribe to his right, throws back and safe, says Mike DeMuro.
Well, a nice play by Uribe. You see, once he backhands the ball, he takes an extra 2 or 3 steps. And we've seen Derek Jeter, the great Yankee shortstop. It's just one step, turn, and throw. Guys do it differently. Uribe makes a great play, but see Quintero, he sniffs that base hit. He's hustling all the way down. Just beats the throw.
Well, Uribe, for a guy that's pretty stocky as a shortstop, can still cover some ground, and this one's hit to his right. Turns it to Downs for one, back to first, a double play. 1 pitch, 2 outs, and just like that, the Astros are done, but they have a 1-0 lead. It's what we do. Lombard Street in San Francisco. Eric and I took our morning jog up that this morning. How do you feel, all right?
A little dizzy.
Yeah.
Little dizzy.
And there's our limos waiting for us afterward. We'll just sail that right back down to Los Angeles.
I'll take a flight, and I'm getting home in a few hours.
Okay.
Catch you on Monday if you're taking that sailboat.
When's that? Monday in June? Benji Molina hitting .337 this season. Looks like strike one from Roy Oswalt. Molina has hit safely in 14 of his last 16 games. .353 clip. Ball lifted to right center. Bourne and Pence get together, and it'll be the Gold Glover that squeezes it. Well, Roy Oswalt, a guy who's just 2-4 this season, but came in with a 2.63 ERA. I think a lot of people, after last year's 8-win season, wondered, all right, is this the point we're going to see Roy Oswalt fall off a little bit? Well, through 7+ starts, the answer is no.
Well, he's thrown well, and he's answered any critics that thought, oh, man, here comes the decline. Again, you look at his record, you say, oh, he's only 2-4, but 7 quality starts. He's lost 1-0. He's lost 2-1. Just hasn't been his year as far as getting breaks. And quite frankly, I don't know if it will be with this offense right now that Houston's throwing out there.
Well, if he keeps throwing darts like he has to Juan Uribe, maybe 1-0 will hold up on his side of the ledger. Uribe down 0-2. Did he go? No, says Mike DeMuro at first.
That was a gift right there, boys. I'll tell you that right now. If you're up at the plate, you're going, oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
And he makes Oswalt pay. And Oswalt just turned to the first base umpire, Mike DeMuro, and kind of gave him a look that said, man, you just cost me a strikeout and now a hit.
This pitch just left out over the plate. Not happy about it. Not sure if he's worried about the grip or what it was, or if he was upset with the umpire. I think because that ball came back over the plate, it didn't move the way he wanted to, especially with 2 strikes. I think he was more upset with himself than anything.
Nate Scherholtz looks at a strike. Scherholtz, .341 with a homer and 6 RBIs. He's the guy that lost the starting right field job in spring training to John Bowker, but then reclaimed it toward the end of April and has been on fire ever since. .346 over his last 24 games. And those corner outfield positions, Eric, as we've talked about as we've done Giants games in the past, it's where they've really been lacking. But this is a guy that seems to have taken this job and says, you know what, it's mine.
Well, again, and there's something to be said about he didn't win the job coming out of spring training as a young player. You can get down, but he battled. He took advantage of some opportunities, and I'll tell you, he plays a great defensive right field as well.
Quintero with the snap throw, but Uribe gets back. The 1-2 to Scherholtz. Ball lifted and curling foul down the right field line. Oswalt was quoted this week. Somebody came up, approached him, asked him about his no-trade clause in his contract. Would you be willing to waive it if maybe in late June or early July the team has fallen out of contention? And it was the same question Lance Berkman was asked a few weeks ago. Both these lifelong Astros have said, you know what, if it makes sense for the team, it makes sense for me. Yeah, I'm willing to waive it. And I think a lot of people, Eric, are curious, which direction is this franchise heading right now?
Well, I don't think it knows where it's going. It's been so streaky this year. Starting off 0-8 and then winning 8 of its next 10, then struggling again. I still think that the Astros are trying to figure out what type of team they're going to be.
Well, Nate Scherholtz gets caught looking for the first strikeout of the afternoon for Roy Oswalt.
You see Quintero setting up inside, and this ball just runs back over the plate. Almost paralyzes the left-handed hitter because it starts off inside. And you think, you know what? That's not going to be a strike. But the continued movement, it gets out over the plate. Called strike 3.
So now Matt Downs, second baseman. 283 average, 5th best among National League rookies. In a few days or so, it might be Freddie Sanchez, the 3-time All-Star, back in the lineup. Looks at one inside. Sanchez on a rehab assignment down in Oklahoma City this weekend. Could be activated as early as this coming week. He's a guy that, he's a former National League batting champ. Obviously, he would add something to this lineup, you would think. Ball fouled away.
Well, and this Giant ball club obviously could use him with the offense, but they don't want to bring him back. And I don't think, more importantly, I don't think he wants to be back until he feels like he's 100%. It doesn't make sense to come back in his mind at 85 or 90% and risk doing some more damage to yourself and then being out for a prolonged time. So I think maybe a few extra days as opposed to a few days earlier, probably what he has in mind.
That one misses outside. It's 2-2. Freddie Sanchez battling an injured shoulder. He had a bad knee when he came over in that deal last year from Pittsburgh. Actually shut him down in September. And Sanchez has not been able to show that man, Bruce Bochy, nor the Giants fans, what he is all about. Ball rolled to Manzella. He goes the short way for the out. Astros up 1-0, and we're going to return to San Francisco after a word from your local Fox station. It's what we do. And what Roy Oswalt has done so far on the mound is mow down the San Francisco Giants, and now he's going to try and insert cliche here, help himself. Looks at a ball. Oswalt, a lifetime 159 hitter. 2 for 11 this season. And it is 2-1. Lincecum has been a bit erratic so far. A couple of walks, a wild pitch leading to the lone run of the game. And Oswalt is going to dink one in there. So Oswalt on first. Back in the first, Michael Bourne walked, stole second, moved to third on a grounder, and scored on a wild pitch. And Brad Mills says, yeah, that's what you got to do against Tim Lincecum.
Well, you know what? He is stingy. And, you know, anytime that you can extend an inning, whether it be a walk or, you said it, wild pitch, we'll take it.
Brad, you started off a little bit slow, then you get hot, then you run into a little rut, then you win some games. Is there an explanation for the streakiness?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that come involved there. I mean, the teams we're facing, how well they're playing. You know, people have talked about our bats maybe not coming around as early as we would have liked them. So, you know, but our pitching has been pretty good, and we'll just kind of have to take it and battle from there.
You know, Roy Oswalt used to be mentioned among the best pitchers in baseball, and now we're seeing today why. I mean, Roy Oswalt didn't go anywhere, did he?
Well, you know, Chris, not just today. Yeah, I mean, you've seen a couple innings, but he's been throwing that way all season. And, you know, this is, his seventh start, and he's been throwing the ball extremely well.
All right, Brad, thanks very much. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
And, in fact, Roy Oswalt has gotten the second hit of the game for the Astros as well, and now a 1-2 count on Michael Bourne. He walked, stole second, moved to third on a Berkman grounder, and scored on a wild pitch. And looks at one in the dirt. And Eric, you asked Brad Mills about the inconsistency of this team. His big league managerial career started with an 0 for 8. Then they went 8 of 10. Lose another 8 in a row as well. This week, they started their road trip by sweeping St. Louis in St. Louis for the first time in 6 years.
Well, it was funny speaking to Brad yesterday. He was kidding us. He was asking us if there had ever been a manager that never won a game. You know, again, it's only 8 games. It's such a small sample size at the beginning of the year, but when you're going through that, you know, game 4, it seems like you've gone 50 games without a win. It just seems forever.
Ball up the middle, Downs gloves it. They're going to get 1, but not 2 with Bourne's speed. Nice play by Matt Downs, the fielder's choice.
This is a real nice play by Downs because he knows the situation. I say that. He knows the runner going to first is a speedy guy. You're not going to turn a double play. Gloves it, doesn't try to flip it from his glove. Make sure he makes the right transfer, gets a good flip to Uribe, and makes sure of 1 out. Smart play right there, knowing the situation. See Michael Bourne, man, he's moving right there. No way you're doubling him.
Although it looked like he came up a little lame as he crossed first base. We'll see what role that plays. Well, there he goes. Molina's throw, pretty good one, but not in time. So Bourne has 2 steals in the first 3 innings, and now 13 on the year to lead the big leagues.
That's called playing possum right there. If he did,
they got me.
Little twitch down there. But again, we talked about that Michael Bourne at the top of this lineup can make this offense go. Again, now we're 6 for 6 as far as guys stealing bases against Tim Lincecum this year. It's one of the ways you attack this ball club, this Giant team. They've got great pitching, but they have not been able to defend against the stolen base. Padres came in here, took 3 in a row against this Giant ball club. What did they do? They ran and ran and ran.
And this is somewhat of an alarming stat for Bruce Bochy. Only 2 first pitch strikes in 11 batters faced this afternoon for Tim Lincecum. But there's a strike to Kaz Matsui, the lone strikeout victim of Tim Lincecum this afternoon. The 2-1. Ball hit up the middle to Uribe. Runs Bourne back to the bag and takes care of Matsui. Well, time now for our Mercedes-Benz trivia question. Roy Oswalt. He has finished in the top 5 of the Cy Young voting 5 times, but has never won the award. Which 2 pitchers hold the record for the most top 5 Cy Young finishes without winning it? Give you some time to chew on that one. That's a good question today. I like that one.
You know the answer?
Well, I did a little research on it, so I kind of cheated. 2 down now for Lance Berkman. Once again, it was Berkman and Oswalt, as we said, the last 2 weeks. They kind of addressed their futures, and they both said, listen, we're not going anywhere. We both love Houston. We both want to stay here. It's up to them if they want to come ask us. It's not like they have demanded to move elsewhere. Berkman looks at strike 1. But to be fair, both guys are in their early 30s. They can probably see where this team stands and how long it might take to get back into playoff contention. I mean, as your guy get older, you start to think about those things. Swing and a miss there. That was nasty. They throw back to second base, but Bourne gets back safely.
See Bourne getting a big jump. He gets caught out in the middle, but he's quick enough to get back to second base. Again, trying to get that big lead so he can score on a single. But this is where Lincecum has to be careful. You've got Carlos Lee on deck. You don't have to go after Berkman.
Good stop in the dirt by Molina, and it's 1-2.
I mean, you make pitches on the corners here. You don't give him anything good to hit. You make Berkman chase something out of the zone or hit something that's not a strike. Doesn't matter. If you end up walking him, so be it. First and second, you go after Carlos Lee.
The 1-2. There is a swing and a miss. So the Astros threaten, but they strand a man at second. Houston leads it 1-0. We're not even going to use the wind. Roy Oswalt, who has pitched very well through the first 2 innings, looking at Rollinger, Lincecum, and then the top of the order in Rowan. Ryan Rollinger making just his 12th big league start this afternoon. Looks at a strike. It's part of an infield. He's obviously subbing today for Pablo Sandoval, but this is a Giants infield that's going to have a decidedly different look in a couple of weeks as Sanchez and Renteria and obviously Sandoval get healthy. Ball fouled away.
Well, and both of those additions, Sanchez and Renteria, obviously improves the team offensively. I think Renteria they've missed just because of his ability to go up and give a professional at bat. The experience.
Edgar Renteria sidelined by a sore groin, put on the DL last week. Probably be coming off about a week from today, and Bruce Bochy says he's pretty much on target.
I asked Edgar if he was going to go on a rehab assignment yesterday. He just smiled, which meant no chance.
Rollinger, the second strikeout victim this afternoon. Once again, our Mercedes-Benz trivia question. Which two pitchers hold the record for most top 5 Cy Young finishes without winning the award? Mike Mussina and Nolan Ryan. 6 each. Tim Lincecum, who has 2 Cy Youngs to his credit. Hitting a .188 this season. No homers, 3 RBIs. Laces one foul. Well, Mike Mussina and Nolan Ryan, as we said, those 6 top 5 finishes and no trophies to show for it. Talk about intimidating. Nolan Ryan, in the meantime, Mike Mussina, he just seemed to throw about 18 different pitches up there, didn't he?
Well, that was the thing. He was able to just carve hitters. He wasn't overpowering, but he would always keep you off balance and had a great career.
And here is Tim Lincecum getting all carved up as well as Roy Oswalt makes it back-to-back strikeouts. Gets you to the top of the order, Aaron Rowan. Now 0 for his last 17.
You know, it's interesting getting back to that Lincecum when he gets to the strike 3. You know, he doesn't say anything. It was a questionable call, but you'll never see a pitcher argue ball strike up at the plate because he's going to want that pitch later on. Because look, you called that on me up at the plate. I better get that when I'm out on the mound.
Do you call that seeing the bigger picture?
You could call it that.
I'm not trying to break any ground here. I mean, you know, it just
seeing the
makes sense,
picture.
right? That's how you parent, too, right?
See the bigger picture. I'm having trouble with that part, so I don't know.
Email us if you have parenting tips for Eric Karros. All fouled away. This is a Giants offense. Obviously, they struggled in the early going here, but with the exception of their 6 losses to the San Diego Padres this year, and they're 0-6 against their division rival, they're averaging more than 5 runs per game against the rest of the big league. So it seems to be an improved offense.
But again, you know, you're talking about Renteria being in the lineup. You're talking about Aaron Rowan. At the beginning of the year, remember, he got hit in the face. The Vicente Padilla fastball broke 3 bones in his cheek. He was out for a while, has come back. And so this team really hasn't gelled yet offensively. Pablo Sandoval has really struggled in May. Mark DeRosa with the wrist injury.
That went way outside, so Rowan works the count full.
I mean, I like this Giant ball club. I like them a lot. I think that they'll be there at the end. I think the Dodgers will be there at the end.
Padres,
you know,
they are leading the division.
I'm having trouble with that one.
Ball lifted down the first base line. Matsui, Berkman give chase, and it falls foul. And Matsui does a face plant as well.
Well, the ball is drifting towards the stands. So what you want to do as a fielder, you want to get over towards the stands and work your way back towards the field. Because if you're continuing to try to go with it as it drifts further and further away, you can mess up the timing, and that's what Matsui did. Now, but getting back to the Padres or who wins the West, the Padres have got off to a marvelous start, and the way they came in here and really, they swept the Giants. The one thing about them, though, it's different when you're playing in July and August and the games start to mean something and other teams are saying, all right, we got the Padres coming in, we've got to gear up. Right now, look, the start's been great. Things have been going well for them. The pitchers have been great. What's going on in that organization has been phenomenal. But over 162 games, I'm not ready to jump on that bandwagon yet.
Already 8 shutouts for the Padres. Rowan grounds one to second, so Matsui gets a second shot, and this one not through the air but on the ground does it. And Roy Oswalt out-dueling Tim Lincecum so far. The Lawn Care Company of Major League Baseball. By Valvoline, guarantee your engine up to 300,000 miles. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men. Lee Penson Feliz against Tim Lincecum, who delivers a rare first pitch strike. Lee walked and was stranded in the first. Rips one on over to Rollinger. There is one down. In between innings, we caught up with Giants pitching coach Dave Righetti. I noticed that Tim Lincecum was a little wild, so I said, Rags, does he look a little wild?
I'm seeing that he's a little wild, Chrissy. No, the first in the windup a little bit, he's off. He's a little bit off, and in all 3 innings. So we'll make a little adjustment. But in that last batter with Berkman, that looked like his arm speed was up on those pitches, and he was getting out and reaching out a little bit. He's been cutting it off.
Rags, in your tenure here, is this, for me, I'm looking at this staff, and I'm saying this has got to be the deepest staff that this Giant ball club has had in a number of years.
It's pretty close, Eric, but a few years ago when we went to the World Series before that, we had 5 guys that were winning double digits. And last year we had Randy Johnson and Brad Penny joined us too. So right now it's not quite with those groups, but I like where we're at right now.
Dave, thanks for joining us.
All right, you guys.
Thanks for calling me Chrissy. I haven't heard that since my mom called me.
You got it. It's an Italian thing. What are you going to do?
Rigetti trying out for Goodfellas 3, I think, coming up in the near future. Hunter Pence looks bad on that swing. You talked to Dave Rigetti about this staff and all around the board. I mean, it might be the best in the bigs.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. And, he mentions, the staff last year with Randy Johnson and Brad Penny.
Ball hit sharply on one hop to Uribe. Good, strong arm, and there's 2 down.
See, Uribe does a nice job here and moving his feet a little bit to get the one hop, then makes a good, strong throw. Aubrey Huff doing a nice job of catching that. That was about belt high, almost handcuffed him. But getting back to this Giant staff, I mean, we talk about Randy Johnson or Brad Penny last year. Randy Johnson, he was out for a while, and sure, he was Randy Johnson, but it's not Randy Johnson 99, 2000, where he went through that stretch of 4 Cy Young Awards. And Brad Penny was here for a brief period of time. The arms that this Giant ball club has now, and the starting staff and the power, awesome.
Well, Pedro Feliz is going to get extra bases out of this one. Third hit on the afternoon for the Astros.
Well, this is just an off-speed pitch that backs up. When I say it backs up, it doesn't break to the outside part of the plate. It runs back into the right-handed hitter. And because Molina was set up outside, when it runs back towards the right-handed hitter, it goes right down the middle of the plate. Feliz able to catch up with it because it's an off-speed pitch. He's standing on second base.
Now Humberto Quintero beat out an infield single. Back in the second. Third time in 4 innings, the Astros have a runner in scoring position against Lincecum, who delivers a strike.
Well, and remember, they do have 1 run, but it had nothing to do with driving anybody in or getting a base hit. It was a wild pitch that ended up allowing Michael Bourne to score.
Well, Molina's had to chase all over the place. He's had to put on his track shoes this afternoon.
Yeah, he's had to work. No question about it. It's been uncharacteristic, what Tim Lincecum has done today as far as making Bengie Molina work. But by the same token, Lincecum is still making the dominant pitches when he needs to.
The 1-1 sawed him off. A couple of hops to Uribe, and that's going to do it. So Feliz with a double, but he is stranded at second. We move on to the bottom of the 4th. It's 1-0. led by our director Jim Lynch, our producer Jeff Gowen, whose little girl Nicole Ryan is turning 2. Your daddy loves you. In fact, the whole Fox crew loves you. Nicole, happy 2nd birthday. Andres Torres lined out in the 1st. And hammers that one foul. Oswalt's done a great job this afternoon, Eric, of getting ahead of all these hitters.
Well, he really has. Been pounding the strike zone. And when he does get ahead, he's able to put him away. He's not messing around, trying to make the perfect pitch.
Strikeout number 4. He has K'd 3 of the last 4 batters this afternoon. And really, this has been the year of the pitcher. I mean, we're 6 weeks into the season. Already 14 starting pitchers have an ERA under 2.10. 37 pitchers with at least 4 wins. There's been 34 complete games, 11 shutouts. Oh, yeah, there's also been a perfect game, a no-hitter, and 4 other near no-hitters, meaning they take it into the 8th inning with a no-hitter.
Well, and we almost saw one here the other day. Padres and Giants. Matt Latos of the Padres giving up only an infield single. Ball hit off his leg and shot to the infielder.
Well, Aubrey Huff grounds one. And you talk about it, it was last Sunday on Mother's Day, Dallas Braden. The 19th perfect game happened just across the bay. The second A's pitcher to toss a perfect game, Catfish Hunter, the other one back in 1968. Had only 5 strikeouts in that game, but really was never threatened. I mean, Kevin Kuzminoff made a nice play near the dugout at third, but other than that, there weren't any of those great plays. And there's the A's home just across the bay. Oakland down in Anaheim tonight. Benji Molina with a 2-out single. As he continues his hot hitting. He's hit safely in 15 of his last 17 games now. Speaking of perfect games, 29 years ago today, Len Barker of the Cleveland Indians threw a perfect game against the Toronto Blue Jays. The man who usually does the broadcast for the Giants, Dwayne Kuiper, played in that game, made actually a huge defensive play. First batter of the game against Alfredo Griffin.
You remember that game? You're a big Cleveland fan.
Oh, yeah. I can't say I was one of the 3,000 or so that was actually at Municipal Stadium. But I watched it on TV. Juan Uribe has one of the 2 Giants hits this afternoon. Lifts one foul. Berkman gives chase and cannot make the play. The Chevy and Scotts are building diamonds and dreams. See how the kids could win a ballpark makeover, and you could win a new Chevy. Just visit ChevyBaseball.com. That'd be pretty cool. Makeover for the field. It's not bad.
A makeover for the field.
A little makeover, no? I mean, that's... Did you play on the nice little league? Well manicured?
No. You know what's funny? You go back to those youth fields now, and there's no way I'd take a ground ball off any of that stuff. But I'm telling my 7- and 8-year-olds, get in front of that ball. Take it off the chest.
Uribe rips one to left center. Lee gives chase, and it is gone.
This pitch just comes back towards the middle of the plate again. We saw Oswalt made a similar pitch earlier in the game to Uribe. Wasn't happy about it. He gets extension. He's tied now for the team lead in home runs with 4. Increased his RBI lead. Lincecum happy right there.
Nate Scherholtz behind 0-2. just like that, the Astros are behind 2-1.
Well, you know, sorry to interrupt, but it's, you go back to that pop-up foul that, you know, Lance Berkman, it was tough. It was up against near the stands and the railing, but unable to make that play. Gives him a little life, and then whack.
And against a guy like Tim Lincecum, you've got to come up with every 50-50 ball, if you will, right?
Well, you've got to make plays. You can't. The thing about Lincecum, when you have an opportunity to put him away, if you're out there offensively or defensively, you can't give the other team, you know, outs or more opportunities, because you're not going to score a lot of runs off of Lincecum. And see, what's tough about this, you know, Roy Oswalt is throwing a great ball game. He's made one pitch really that's, you know, been a quote-unquote bad pitch, and he's down 2-1.
Well, that one hit Scherholtz. So 3 straight runners have reached base.
You know, this one he just holds on too long. Not trying to do anything, just run a ball inside.
Matt Downs, fielder's choice to end the second as Scherholtz draws a throw. Scherholtz, a great athlete, maybe the best one on the team. He can run a little bit. Downs lifts one out of play. Giants made a roster move about a week ago. They decided to send down a Eugenio Velez, a guy who had been with them for the better part of a year, and decided to keep Downs up here. A little bit surprising because Velez is a guy that can play multiple outfield positions, second base as well. A couple of hops to Feliz. He goes the short way, and that'll do it. But Juan Uribe going deep and giving the Giants the lead. Lead, courtesy of a Juan Uribe 2-run shot. Facing Manzella, Oswalt, and Bourne in the top of the 5th. Manzella grounded into a double play to end the 2nd. 1 for his last 23. Not easy when you're a rookie, huh, EK?
Well, you start pressing. You start. You're struggling, so then you feel like, wow, I've got to get a hit. I've got to get a hit. If I don't get a hit, look, that's not helping you when you're in the batter's box. It sounds easy to do. Just go up there, see it, and hit it. But, man, it's a mental grind. No question about it.
As I said, one of 3 Astros in the starting lineup, excluding the pitching spot, in which they're hitting under 200. One being Carlos Lee, who walked earlier, and now Manzella leads off the 5th with a walk.
Well, you watch Tim Lincecum here in our slow-mo camera, and there's just a lot of movement. So when things aren't going right, very difficult for somebody to say, well, look, maybe you want to adjust this or adjust that. There's so many moving components. I mean, the guy that knows his windup the best is himself and his dad. And that's where you really need to go when you need to make an adjustment.
Roy Oswalt lays down the bunt, and it's a good one. Huff Fields throws to Downs covering. So sacrifice bunt for Roy Oswalt gets Manzella into scoring position. Did you know that Valvoline can guarantee your engine up to 300,000 miles? And Tim Lincecum, one of 4 starters in baseball with a record of 4-0 or better this season. He's not guaranteed to go undefeated this year, of course, but Valvoline, the first and only motor oil in the industry to guarantee your engine up to 300,000 miles. And out of that list, Andy Pettitte improved to 5-0 today for the first time since '97, but it's Phil Hughes who's really taken New York by storm.
Well, an interesting move in spring training, putting him into the rotation. Chamberlain goes to the bullpen, and it's been a brilliant move by manager Joe Girardi.
Michael Bourne looks at a strike. Astros 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position today. Manzella walked to lead off this frame, sacrificed to second by Oswalt. Bourne has been on base twice, scored the lone run for Houston. Has a pair of steals. The 2-1. It's 2-2. Bourne has appealed a 2-game suspension. Got into it last weekend with first base umpire Alfonso Marquez. An incidental bump. Check swing, and he did go. Third strikeout this afternoon for Lincecum, who has been spot on in his career against Houston. In 6 starts, he is unbeaten with a wicked ERA of 1.37, second lowest against any one opponent. And look out the strikeout to walk ratio. That's been pretty much his MO throughout his entire career. Really could almost run those stats against almost any team, it seems.
Yeah,
like.
And they're identical. The thing, though, it's interesting is he has struggled today. I mean, he doesn't have his great stuff. He doesn't have his command. And he's only given up 3 hits. And when he's had to make pitches now, the Astros are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position coming into this at-bat. Tim Lincecum has been able to make the pitches, able to get the out.
Well, third time for Kaz Matsui that he bats with a runner in scoring position, and for the third time, he's not going to be able to drive him in. Lincecum yields a leadoff walk, but no damage done. Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. And here is today's Verizon game summary. Both pitchers have been dealing this afternoon. Roy Oswalt, 4 strikeouts in 4 innings work. His lone blemish, the 2-run shot by Juan Uribe. And Tim Lincecum, the only mistake he really made was the wild pitch that allowed Michael Bourne to score the lone Astro run. Rollinger, Lincecum, and Rowan here in the bottom of the 5th. One of the 4 strikeout victims of Roy Oswalt. Blew that one past him. You forget that Roy Oswalt's only 32 years old. It seems like he's been around for about 2 decades, 3 decades.
Well, and interesting you say that, because there's been talk, and he's said it himself, that look at after 2011 when his contract runs out, you know, he may take it to the house. That may be it. And again, when you talk about his age, and you're thinking, man, still in his early 30s. And
one hopper to Berkman, backhands it, and will do it himself. And here's a DirecTV game break. Let's send it on over to Chris Rose. All right, Chris, thank you. Down in Tampa, it's Mike Sweeney, his 3rd homer in as many games, 210 in his career. That'll wake up anybody sleeping in Seattle or in the clubhouse. 2-0 at that point. And remember, if you want to see any game in HD, it's 1-800-DirecTV. Chris, back to you. Thank you. What's your problem? Tim Lincecum fouls one away.
Sweeney getting in opportunities, getting to play every day, getting those at-bats. Seattle really struggling, looking for offense.
Last few days, though, they have hammered the ball in Baltimore and in Tampa. Laced down the left field line, but foul. Well, it is Lincecum v. Oswalt right now, and it's the 5th time that they have squared off, and both guys have just been flat out dealing. Lincecum obviously the better end of the deal. Two pretty good ones, though. And there is a called strike 3. Well, next week, we are under the lights on Fox. That's right, we are going prime time. Most of you will get the Yankees and the Mets, the Tigers and Dodgers, Cubs, Rangers. It's coming your way. Special time, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And also catch this week in baseball at a special time as well. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. Where are you going to be?
I don't know. I don't know if I didn't see myself on that list there.
Well,
no, I'm going to be in Philly. I got Red Sox, Phillies. Looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Aaron Rowan. That'll snap his 0 for 18 skid.
Well, this is interesting that Rowan goes after the very first pitch. Tim Lincecum just finishes at bat, goes back. Usually the hitter will go up there and take the first pitch, and the pitcher usually knows that, so he just grooves one over, expecting the hitter to take the pitch to give the pitcher a break back in the dugout. Rowan jumps on it, gets a base hit.
Ball hit well down the right field line. That's going to be trouble. Pence digs it out of the corner. Rowan's going to be sent home. The throw from Matsui beats him, and he is out. A beautiful relay by the Astros. It is the law firm of Pence to Matsui to Quintero to keep it 2-1. Verizon, the network with the most 3G coverage. And by Chevy. Every model is backed by 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty. Top of the 6th in San Francisco, just as we expected, a pitcher's duel this afternoon. Tim Lincecum has a 2-1 lead over Roy Oswalt and the Astros as he faces the heart of the order, Berkman, Lee, and Pence. Berkman 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out. And he's ahead in the count, 2-0. Lance Berkman in the last year of his 6-year, $85 million deal. There is an option for 2011. And a 4-pitch walk to lead off the 6th. And let's show you the play that ended the bottom of the 5th. A great relay by the Astros.
Well, nice job by Pence. Gets it to Matsui. He turns and throws a one-hopper. You watch Aaron Rowan trying to slide around with that right-handed tag. You see Tim Flannery. He's waving him. Hustle, hustle. Aubrey Huff in the background telling Rowan to get down. Everything perfectly executed. Obviously, the Giants want to be safe, but everything done right there. Picture perfect.
What hasn't been perfect this afternoon has been Tim Lincecum's command. 4 walks. He came into the game with just 10 in his first 7 starts. Carlos Lee out in front of that one. When you're struggling the way that a guy like Carlos Lee has, is there anything you can do to mix things up? Yeah, it's been only 6 weeks, but this has been a tough go for him.
Well, after a while, it becomes mental. And what you do, maybe you don't take batting practice. You come right to the ballpark an hour before it starts. Just change the routine. The physical attributes are still there. I mean, very rarely does a guy lose it over a period of 4 or 5 months the way that things appear to be right now for Carlos Lee. But he's still working hard. I spoke to hitting coach Sean Berry yesterday. You know, he feels like Carlos Lee is right around the corner. Things will start to come.
And there's a called strike 3, and he does not like the call by Bill Welke. And here comes Brad Mills to get his star out of the way. And nope, not in time. Welke just gave him the thumb.
Well, this is a season-long frustration. This is an off-speed pitch. It is off the plate. See, Benji Molina brings it back over the inner part of the plate. Welke calling it a strike, but, you know, this is that Tim Lincecum earlier in the game where he's up at the plate, and he had an expanded strike zone when he was up. He didn't say anything to home plate umpire Bill Welke, and then he gets those calls. That's why it's always good when you're the pitcher. Keep your mouth shut when you're up at the plate.
A frustrated Lee, 1 for his last 17. That average dipping below 190 on the year. And he has been run. And the Astros, the worst team in the National League, that frustration starting to mount. 3 ejections in the last 8 days. That's not a statistic you want to lead baseball in. The mild-mannered Hunter Pence now at the dish. 0 for 2 in the afternoon. Looks at one low and inside. Pence has got kind of that funny look up at the plate. He seems to choke up on the bat. He's got the knee high I mean, it looks like he should be playing like at a Little League field down the street or something, doesn't he?
Well, it seems like he's one of those throwback guys, and I'm not talking about the 60s or 70s. I'm talking about the 1920s, you know. Just grab that bat and whack.
Ball hit to right center. Sherholtz snags it on the line. And there's 2 down. Well, MLB is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer, so please visit standup2cancer.org to learn how you can help us in the fight against cancer. Two down in the 6th for Pedro Feliz. He has the only extra base hit allowed by Lincecum this afternoon. Ball lifted to right center. Sherholtz on the run. The dive, and he's got it. Nate Sherholtz, a man on the run. And that helps preserve the Giants' lead for Lincecum. Bottom of the 6th, Aubrey Huff looks at a called strike from Roy Oswalt. 3-4-5 against Oswalt. Ball and a couple of hops to Matsui. And there is 1 down. Here's the catch by Nate Sherholtz to end the top of the 6th. Great jump he got on the ball.
He gets a great jump. He's a big man, able to extend. Makes a fine play. And we talked about coming out of spring training. Well, he didn't have the job in right field. Lost it. Then had an opportunity to play. He's been swinging the bat well. Defensively, as good as anybody out there in right field. Really done a nice job.
You saw the new left fielder for the Houston Astros. It's Jason Michaels replacing Carlos Lee, who got run in the top of the frame after arguing a called third strike. Benji Molina looks at 1 high. Molina 1 for 2. He singled and scored on the Uribe homer back in the 4th. Chase the high cheese there. The 1-2. Molina stays alive. And this has really been kind of a typical Roy Oswalt start for this season.
Well, it has. He pitches well, giving them a quality start, not getting any run support. What makes it tough, even when he was pitching with the 1-0 lead, every pitch has to be perfect.
Ball lifted foul. Quintero gives chase, but it'll hit the seats.
You talk about pitch counts, and everybody wants to say, well, a guy threw 80 pitches or 90 pitches or 110. But there's a different intensity combined with these pitch counts. When you're having to be perfect on every pitch and you throw 90 pitches as opposed to somebody that's got a 7-run lead and throwing 90 pitches, two different animals.
Well, you'll notice on that graphic the no decisions and the lack of run support. It is dwindling over the years. As Molina lifts one, Matsui's going to get under it. Well, Fox Sports is proud to team with the Breast Cancer Research Foundation during our 2010 MLB on Fox season. The Breast Cancer Research Foundation helps fund the most advanced and promising breast cancer research. So please join the fight by texting CURE to 27722 to donate $10 or visit bcrfcure.org. Messaging and data rates may apply. Juan Uribe, for the third time this afternoon, gets Roy Oswalt. Pair of singles and a home run. 3 of the 6 hits allowed by Oswalt have been by Juan Uribe. He's been really the only guy that's figured him out.
Now, he swung the bat well today. He's a guy that, a lot of people don't pay attention to, but can play a number of positions in the infield, swings the bat well, a great clubhouse guy. Bruce Bochy raves about Uribe. I remember talking to Ozzie Guillen, manager of the White Sox. Uribe played for the White Sox, said one of the best players he's had as far as what he can do for a ball club and his personality.
Well, you think Ozzie couldn't use that guy in the lineup right now? Man, worst hitting team in the bigs in terms of batting average. Nate Scherholtz, who made that great play to finish the top of this frame. 0 for 1, a strikeout, reach base, hit by pitch. That one fouled off.
This is that grab he made last inning. Fully extended, gets a good jump, able to keep that from falling. I mean, he's done everything extremely well. Getting on base at a 400 clip. I mean, if there's anything that the Giants may want to see, it's maybe hit the ball for a bit more power. At least we're not necessarily talking about home runs, but hit the ball in the gap. He's gone 7 or 8 games without an extra base hit. Again, when you're playing those corner spots at the big league level, first, third, left, or right, got to hit.
Off of Oswalt's glove, Matsui gets it. So a good reaction by Oswalt and Matsui. But up next, Tim Lincecum. The Freak's in the house and going back to work. What Tim Lincecum and Roy Oswalt do is mow him down. Certainly this afternoon as we move on to the 7th. Giants with a 2-1 lead. Humberto Quintero swings and misses. 1 for 2 in the afternoon as he extended his hitting streak to a career best 8 games. Ball popped up. Aubrey Huff giving chase, and all right, first baseman, dissect that one.
Well, it's tough. You're looking into the sun right there, and you're running. You're not sure where you're at. You know, watch him. He doesn't have the sunglasses on, first of all. Then, just closes the glove a little bit. It's kind of a tough one to catch like that. You might want to keep your glove open, almost like your basket catch, Willie Mays. Try it again.
Well, Scherholtz is going to take this one.
Right, I got it. You take it.
All right, I'll take it because it's time for a DirecTV game break. Here's Chris Rose again at Wrigley. The Cubs down 3-2 in the third. Aramis Ramirez not hitting much and not running fast enough as Ryan Church cuts him down by about 30 yards. Then in the ninth, Marlon Byrd with a tying run on strikes out courtesy of Octavio Dotel. Cubs have lost 9-11. Remember to follow all your baseball action in HD by calling 1-800-DIRECTV. Chris, back to you.
Chrissy, back to you.
Very good, yes. If Dave Righetti was tossing it to me. Tommy Manzella looks at a strike. He walked to lead off the 5th, but was stranded at 2nd. In fact, the Astros have stranded a runner in every inning except for the 2nd against Tim Lincecum. Back to the Cubs, who have dropped 9 of 11. Ugh. Is there anything that Lou Piniella can do to rally the troops there? I mean, that looks miserable.
Shoot, you're getting to the point where you might want to just tell everybody to go have a soda on Rush Street, show up the next day, and see what happens, because it's not good. Not good, and it doesn't really look like it's getting better.
Ball lifted to right. Scherholtz. Make it 2 for 2. Well, today's MLB on Fox Tune In to Win bonus question. Who's that tweeter? Season's going great. Really excited about how the team's coming together. Was it Chase Utley, Ian Kinsler, Evan Longoria, or the O-Dog? Answer, visit foxsports.com/tune-in. Make your prediction before the final out of the 7th. And if you're not in the game, sign up today for next week's MLB on Fox game at foxsports.com/tune-in.
We just got done talking about the Cubs. I didn't see Lou Piniella's name.
No. Right. Well, he was on there. We had to erase him. He was E. So he... Roy Oswalt staying in the game. Brad Mills electing not to go with a pinch hitter, even though it is the 7th.
Well, it's not like there are a lot of options. And then you get into the bullpen. And Oswalt deserves to go out and throw and still try to win this game.
He does have a base hit today, so maybe he's got as good a shot as anybody. One of the 3 Houston hits. Oof. Well, Lincecum, who was all over the place the first few innings, has really settled in.
Well, but that's the thing about why he's one of the great pitchers in the game right now. I mean, he can look awful for an inning or two, but he can correct himself, keeps himself in the ball game, makes pitches when he has to, even though he was so erratic and not the Tim Lincecum that we've been accustomed to seeing. You look on the scoreboard, he's only given up 3 base hits. He's kept the Astros at bay. The Astros are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
The 103rd pitch of the afternoon sits down Roy Oswalt. Full freakishness in effect as the Giants lead it. Mustache and Beard. Keep your edge. By Michelin, a better way forward. And by Holiday Inn. Stay you with the official partner of Major League Baseball road trips. Bottom of the 7th, Roy Oswalt still on the mound for the Astros, who are trailing 2-1. Face Downs, Rollinger, and Lincecum. Downs pops one up and out of play. Eric, pretty much what we expected this afternoon when we joined everybody at the top of the telecast. We said batters might want to call in sick, and now we're seeing why.
And not a lot of offense, some nice defensive plays. Really one pitch Roy Oswalt would like to have back. That was a 2-run shot given up to Juan Uribe.
Solid day for Juan Uribe, who is 3 for 3. The rest of the squad 3 for 20 today. Swing and a miss, strike 3, 6 Ks on the afternoon for Roy Oswalt. We want to thank Giants reliever Sergio Romo for wearing a microphone. Here are today's sounds of the game.
What a beautiful day for a home run. I mean, it was a hard left. Holy cow. She threw the ball pretty firmly in a firm manner. She threw it almost like directly into their dugout.
Well, Sergio Romo was the catcher on the ceremonial first toss. Analyst, analyze.
I think we needed a GPS to find home plate on that. That's what I think. I have never seen it that far wide.
The little hug with Karen Peterson. She's a retired school teacher from Woodside, California. And so we all love retired school teachers. But class, if you're watching this,
I'm guessing there probably wasn't a lot of PE going on. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Rollinger lifts one down the left field line as Michaels gives chase, but it is foul. And one more look at Karen Peterson's pitch. She's got the right jersey on. She knew it was the wrong direction right away. We'll give her credit.
I'm going to give Romo. I mean, he was quick, got over there, got in front of it before it got to the dirt.
There were a lot of Raiders fans that thought we had a Jamarcus Russell sighting. Rollinger taps one foul. Well, Tim Lincecum was all over the place in the early going. Not quite like that. And he has settled down. Nobody warming in the Giants' pen, and Lincecum is in the on-deck circle, so he will continue on in the 8th.
Well, it's interesting. We're sitting here talking about Lincecum and you know, the struggles that he's had today, and he didn't have his good stuff, and he's been all over the place. And he's only given up 1 run. And I think it just says something about the expectations that he's created for all of us because he's been so phenomenal his first couple of years.
And Roy Oswalt has been great with 7 strikeouts this afternoon. It's time right now for you, the Just for Men Keep Your Edge Spotlight. Just as Roy Oswalt and Tim Lincecum give the Astros and the Giants the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men Mustache and Beard. Well, Lincecum's been punched out twice today, and he looks at a called strike. It's been a while since the Astros have really been at the forefront of everybody's thought process in Major League Baseball, so you really tend to forget just how good Roy Oswalt is. I mean, he's putting on a display, and Brad Mills told us earlier in the game, I mean, this is the way he's gone all season. Lincecum puts it in play. Manziel on a couple of hops. And it's another 1-2-3 inning for the Astros ace. Houston tries to even things up. sure to visit your local Lowe's to cast your Scott's MLB All-Star ballot and enter for a chance to win a VIP All-Star Week experience. Compliments of Scott's. Michael Bourne up the middle. Uribe gloves it, but not in time to get the speedster. A leadoff infield single for Michael Bourne.
Nice play here by Juan Uribe. He's up the middle, shading up the middle. Makes a fine play, and again, has to be quick. He doesn't have time to set himself. He's got to get on his feet and make a quick throw with the speedy Bourne hustling down to first. Now this is really the Astros offense right now. You get down there, Bourne's going to be running at some point. He will attempt to steal.
Rollinger playing in on the grass at third, perhaps expecting a bunt from Kaz Matsui. Would you expect one when a guy's hitting just a smidge over $150?
Well, I think you do, but I'm telling you right now, what I would probably do in this situation, let Bourne give him 1 or 2 pitches to try to steal a base, then have Matsui bunt, get him to third. Because even if he does get down to second base with 1 out, as good as Lincecum has been, I mean, you walk Berkman and then you face Michaels, who's replaced Carlos Lee. I mean, there's a lot of things. I'd force the Giants to throw Bourne out at second base.
Bourne does have 2 stolen bases on the afternoon. This one is wide.
I was going to say, I think Brad Mills showing right there that, look, he's going to let Michael Bourne get an opportunity before he asks Matsui to lay down a bunt. And maybe even doesn't put it on until Matsui has a strike on him.
Well, it is 2-0. How much does Lincecum falling behind in the count affect the at-bat?
Well, this is a place where you can run. I mean, you're not going to throw a pitch out. It'd be a gutsy move to do it. Got to throw something over the plate. Matsui gets something he can hit. Go ahead and swing at it. It's a great opportunity to run right now.
Good lead by Bourne over there at first. Jeremy Affeldt walking down to the bullpen. Bourne staying put, and it is 3-0. And there goes Bourne on the 3-0 pitch. It's called a strike and make it 3 steals this afternoon for the National League leader.
Now I think we see Matsui bunt. I've got to believe that this is an opportunity for him to lay one down. And it's a great time to run there, a 3-0 count. Lincecum focusing on the hitter. I mean, you could drop one down to Aubrey Huff, who's playing way back.
He's swinging away, and Rollinger gloves it. And a great play at third by Ryan Rollinger, keeping Michael Bourne at second.
Well, as great a play as it was by Ryan Rollinger at third, it was arguably just as bad, if not worse, an at-bat by Matsui in that situation. It's a 3-1 count. You've got nothing to do but pull the ball at the very least. You're looking for a pitch that you can drive. You had Aubrey Huff, who I just mentioned, playing way back in the infield. You could drop a bunt down.
And now Berkman pops one up. Uribe's going back. Rowan's coming in. And it'll actually be Torres in left field to make the catch. And there's 2 down.
See, it's one thing when you're a ball club and you're not hitting and you are struggling to drive the ball or to hit when runners are in scoring position. But when you are going through those stretches, you've got to do things, and they say, oh, it's the little things, but you've got to do things and play the game the right way. Move the guy over from second to third. I mean, Roy Oswalt deserves that as much as he's busted his tail out there. You know, you've got to do things that at least allow you some chance to succeed.
Well, Jason Michaels swinging on the first pitch down the right field line and foul. Michaels took over after Carlos Lee was ejected for arguing a called third strike back in the 6th. Part of the problem for Brad Mills when he looks on that bench, there's not a lot of help right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem today has been Matsui. He's had two real tough at-bats. All he had to do is pull the ball.
That one nearly hits Michaels.
Again, I'll go back, 3-1, you're in a count that as a hitter, you've got everything going for you and unable to execute.
Ball tapped foul. Lincecum has jumped ahead in the count, 1-2. The Astros 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. A huge at bat for Jason Michaels. Nice stop by Benji Molina. Bourne singled, stole second, ground out by Matsui, fly out by Berkman. And now Michaels facing a 2-2 pitch from the two-time Cy Young Award winner. Down in the dirt. And Bourne stays put at second. And here comes Dave Righetti to talk to Lincecum. Pretty good at bat there by Jason Michaels.
Well, it really was. And this is a guy that had to come into the game to replace Carlos Lee. First at bat of the day. Right now, if you're Dave Righetti, you're talking to Tim Lincecum, you're asking him how he feels, and you're saying, look, Hunter Pence right now has probably been one of the hottest Astro hitters. Lined out last time to right field. Don't let him be the guy that beats you. Pitch carefully to him. And then if you have to, you go after Feliz. But this is a guy that, just like Uribe hurt Oswalt with one swing of the bat, Hunter Pence right now in a stretch 4 home runs in his last 5 games.
And the Giants closer, Brian Wilson, has joined Jeremy Affeldt in the bullpen. Ball 1. Lincecum now 117 pitches, his season high 120. High and tight as Pence gets out of the way.
This ball just gets away off speed. And one of the dangers when Tim Lincecum doesn't have control is he could leave something over the plate. Molina could be setting up for a pitch low and away, and he could hang something up and in. And a guy like Hunter Pence, one swing of the bat.
Got a good rip there.
This pitch just running in on Hunter Pence. Takes a big swing. Trying to put 3 runs on the board with one swing of the bat.
Ball lifted to center. Rowan, Schierholtz. It's Rowan. The Astros get the leadoff man on, but leave 2 more stranded. Lincecum does the job. By DirecTV for the most sports, period. And by Lexus. Unprecedented access means unprecedented values. Now through June 1st. Bottom of the 8th, and Tim Lincecum getting all sorts of hugs and hand pounds from the likes of Barry Zito and the rest of the crew as he works 8 solid innings. Probably be turning it over to their closer, Brian Wilson, in the 9th. Well, Roy Oswalt, at best, he will get a no decision this afternoon, as Chris Sampson takes over for him. Sampson appearing in his 16th game. He's been a part of a really rock-solid bullpen toward the end of the game. No record, but an ERA of 1.23. Rowan tips one away. He's been part of a group along with Brandon Lyon and Matt Lindstrom that's really pitched very well for Brad Mills.
Well, they have, and the pitching, the pitching hasn't been the issue. It's been the offense. It's great that you can close out a game, but you'd like to have a lead when you're shutting down those final 2 or 3 innings, and that's been the struggles.
Ball fouled away by Rowan. Rowan 1 for 3, snapped an 0 for 18 skid with a single back in the 5th. Swung on and missed, strike 3. All right, time to answer the MLB on Fox Tune In to Win bonus question. Who's that tweeter? Who tweeted, "Season's going great, really excited about how the team is coming together"? The answer is, of course, Evan Longoria. And then he tweeted, "Where's my hat?" Stay tuned for results of today's Tune In to Win game later in the broadcast. One down for Andres Torres. Looks at ball 1. Torres 1 for 3, a double that actually ended the 5th inning as the Astros cut down Rowan trying to score at the plate. That ball's fair, but It looks like Torres is saying that ball hit me in the batter's box. Is that what he's saying?
I think he thinks it may have hit the bat.
Well, Brad Mills wants an explanation from Bill Welke, and
hit his foot. Hit his foot. He kicked it out. Kicked it out with his left foot.
Yeah, he was still in the batter's box at the time, so should just be a foul ball.
Yeah, and the first base umpire made that call. Home plate umpire Bill Welke asking for help. Now you watch. I think it goes right foot and then left foot. Just kicks it out with the left shin. Little soccer effort right there.
Hey, getting ready for the World Cup, so why not?
But good idea. You got Lance Berkman playing way back. He's trying to take advantage of that, much like Kaz Matsui did not try to take advantage of that for the Astros last inning with Aubrey Huff playing way back.
Ball lifted to the left side. Manzella squeezes it for out number 2. Well, for exclusive information, analysis, breaking news, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook. So you just log on to twitter.com/MLB on Fox, facebook.com/Fox Sports, or myspace.com/Fox Sports. You can probably find out really cool things like Chris Sampson was married at home plate in Houston. He delivers a strike to Aubrey Huff. That was actually the call of his wife, Heather, to get married at home plate. Rosencaros, of note, not married at home plate. Check swing. Feliz. Safe as the speedster, Aubrey Huff, gets an infield single.
Well, first base umpire Mike DeMuro has been rock solid on the last 2 calls. Feliz coming in. Aubrey Huff hustling down there, easily beats it. Reason he's able to do that, he does a check swing, and as a left-handed hitter, he's already out of the box. He's got a step or two. Hustles down there. Again, anytime you're sniffing a base hit as a hitter, seems like you can kick it into that extra gear.
Nice call by Mike DeMuro there at first base. 2 down for Benji Molina, who taps one foul. Hey, every Tuesday, Lunch with Benefits. Tune in to the Cheap Seats. It is on foxsports.com. It's where we Skype with the best of the big league. Brian Wilson, the closer for the Giants, who you will see in the 9th inning. One of the funniest people I've ever talked to in 17 years of working in sports television, is a regular on that show. Don't miss it. Comes your way at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific every Tuesday. In fact, we have a little running bet that I have to pay off. I lost a bet to him.
What was the bet?
It's not pretty. You should go look at it. It's not going to be pretty. Ground ball to Manzella, and that'll do it for the Giants in the 8th. So Brian Wilson, we know he's funny. How's he at his day job? We'll see. Wilson, one of the best in the big, 7 for 8 in save opportunities. He can bring the heat, 19 strikeouts. And Pedro Feliz fouls one away. It'll be Feliz, Quintero, and Manzella against Wilson. Tim Lincecum looking for his 5th win in as many decisions. He went 8 innings. It's 0-2.
Well, Wilson last week had a real dominant save, 2-inning save against the Mets. Came in, struck out 5 out of 6 hitters. And the interesting thing, he threw 29 fastballs, or 29 pitches, I should say. 27 of them were fastballs.
Low and outside. If the Giants hang on and win, we will get you out quickly to bonus coverage of baseball here on Fox, either out to Milwaukee or down to Tampa. That'll take you to the top of the hour. It's 2-2. And Feliz stays alive. Wilson, an all-star in 2008. He was the 3rd Giant to record at least 40 saves in a season, joining Rod Beck, Rob Nen. Trying to put the cherry on top for Tim Lincecum. The 2-2. It's low.
Well, never easy for Tim Lincecum. This is the 4th start now in a row where he's left with the lead. Turned it over to the bullpen. 3 no decisions, hoping that closer Wilson here can shut down the Astros and get him a victory.
Ball hit down the right field line and foul.
You know what I like about what Feliz is doing right now as a hitter? He's letting Wilson supply all the power. He's not up there trying to swing as hard as he can. It's just a nice, easy swing. Get the bat out to the ball. You don't have to supply the power as a hitter. Here, just fight it off, shoot it out to right field. The harder the pitcher throws, the easier you swing. Much easier said than done.
And Wilson can certainly bring it. He can touch triple digits. The 3-2. And a leadoff walk for the Astros. Great at bat by Pedro Feliz. That'll bring Humberto Quintero. He has one of the 4 Astros hits this afternoon, a single back in the 2nd. Giving a long look to the third base coach, Dave Clark.
Well, again, these are the situations where when you are struggling as a ball club, you can't miss signs. You've got to execute. You've got to move guys over. You've got to do those things. It takes you a little extra time. You make sure you know what's going on.
The 1-0 pitch. It's 2-0. Wilson has the most regular season saves of anybody in baseball. since 2008. 86 of them. 2 more than Francisco Cordero of the Reds. Swung on and missed. Fouled off Molina. Well, congratulations to today's winners in our MLB on Fox Tune In to Win. Darren Veniglia, Andrew Nepper, Andrew Sato. So visit foxsports.com, tune in to see your results. If you missed this week's game, make sure you play next week, okay? It's just a click away. And another Giants win is now just 3 outs away. The 2-2 pitch by Wilson. Swung on and missed. Well, today's Lexus Hybrids game-changing player is the Giants shortstop, Juan Uribe. 3 for 3 on the afternoon, including the 2-run homer that gave the Giants the 2-1 lead that they now hold here in the 9th. Well, the Astros will have a pinch hitter. It'll be Jeff Blum, the switch-hitting veteran. Quick reminder that bonus coverage is coming your way should the Giants close this one out. We'll send you down to Tampa for the remainder of the Rays. Best team in baseball, taking on the Mariners. Or we'll send you up to Milwaukee for the battle between the Phillies and the Brewers. Jeff Blum, outstanding off the bench throughout his career and this season. Ball hit up the middle, and Uribe is under it. So there's 2 down. And so now the last hope for the Astros is another pinch hitter, Corey Sullivan. Hitting just 152 this season and 2 for 19 as a pinch hitter. That one misses outside. Feliz walked to start the 9th. Quintero battled but struck out. Blum popped out on the first pitch, and now it's Sullivan against Brian Wilson. Catches the corner.
Tough pitch right there. It looked even further out than the pitch that he had just called the ball. You see that right there.
That one is outside.
Well, and see, the smart thing, Benji Molina recognizes it, Brian Wilson recognizes it. So go out and look at it. If the umpire's going to give you that pitch, you've got to pound it out there. And continue to set up on that outer part of the plate. Come in here.
Fouled away. Ball hit to Rollinger, keeps it in front of him, loses his grip, and that costs him as Sullivan beats it out.
Well, a nice job by Rollinger getting over in front of the ball. Just pops up, doesn't get a grip, as you mentioned. The left-handed hitting Sullivan just beating it out. You know, now this is a situation where Feliz, you got to get a good lead. Bourne up at the plate, all he's got to do is make contact. Just shoot something. He's not a big swinger. Shoot something to the outfield. You got yourself a tie ball game.
They called it an infield single for Corey Sullivan. And now Bourne, who had an infield hit in his last at bat, tries to keep the Astros alive. Looks at ball one. Feliz is at second. He walked to lead off the frame. Sullivan reached on an infield single.
If you're hitting right now, you're just looking for one pitch in one spot. Got 3 strikes to play with.
It's 2-0.
You're in a quandary, though, right now if you're a hitter. And the reason I say that is you're looking for one pitch in one spot. But Bourne, I mean, he's going to be the guy that has to do it.
Well, it's 3-0.
And the reason I say he's got to be the guy to do it is Matsui's on deck. And quite frankly, he's just had a real tough day at the plate. Hasn't executed, hasn't had good at-bats. And if I'm Wilson right now, I've got to go after Bourne, but I know that I've got Matsui up next.
And there's strike one. So the bases are now loaded. Two walks and an infield single on a play where Rollinger, I bet you he'll say after the game that he should have ended
it. It's the big leagues. I mean, he expects to make that play. But right now, if I'm Wilson, I know he's trying to throw the ball over the plate, but I'm not fearing Matsui.
Kaz Matsui hasn't hit the ball out of the infield, a strikeout and 3 groundouts.
If Kaz Matsui can beat me, so be it, but I'm throwing 97 miles an hour and saying try and hit it.
That one gets the corner.
That's a real generous corner out there. And again, if you're the pitcher, if you're Brian Wilson, hey, if he's giving it to you, you go out there. You'd be foolish not to. I mean, that right there, that's a ball. That is not something you can hit. But again, if he's calling it a strike, throw it out there all day long.
On the last 2 pitches.
Yeah, 98 outside. You're throwing it against a guy right now that probably can't hit 78. So 98 again.
Tried to get him to chase that one.
I wouldn't go inside. I'd stay outside. He goes in, he kind of pulls out. He might run into something. Outside, he just kind of flails at it. 98 outside.
That one high and outside.
All right, now forget location. Just look for something. Get it over the plate. That's what Benji Molina's got to set up right down the middle right now. Doesn't want to get into a 3-2 count. Just set it up down the middle. If Matsui hits it, he hits it.
The Astros 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position today. Matsui stays alive. He's already left 4 runners on base. Hasn't been able to advance runners. There's 0 for 4s, and there's been bad 0 for 4s, and this is one of those. The 2-2 pitch by Brian Wilson.
Matsui's saving his best at-bat of the day for Brian Wilson. I'd still rush it up there.
The 31st pitch of the inning for Brian Wilson. It's been a pretty good battle.
It really has. And, you know, it would be a gutsy call. But if he dropped the slider on him right now, it'd be all over with. But, again, you know, this is a guy that is a predominant, will throw the fastball. Like I said, it'd be a gutsy pitch to throw right now.
And Molina can't hang on to it.
And he did. He came right there with the slider. 89-mile-an-hour slider. Just spinning up there. Man, that is in the glove, too. Oh, it's never easy. I don't care how great a closer you are. Brian Wilson is one of the best in the game. It's tough.
The 9th pitch of the at-bat.
I'll tell you, I've been killing Matsui all day with the at-bats he's had, but he has battled right now, and that's a credit to him.
3-2, 2 outs. Giants up 1.
And as a hitter right now, very tough to be patient, assuming that the pitcher's going to throw a strike. Very tough to take a walk in this situation. You've got to tone down your aggressiveness.
We'll try it again. Now the 11th pitch of this at bat. Well, excuse my friends over at TNT, but these guys know drama. Bases loaded in a 2-1 game, a 3-2 pitch. Wilson against Matsui. Matsui has fouled off 8 pitches this at bat.
Well, and again, the other thing you have to consider is the amount of pitches that Wilson has thrown this inning. You know, he's got to a point where this isn't normal for him. You know, he's usually 10, 20 pitches. I mean, this is, you know, we're getting close to 40.
Well, the one thing that Wilson does have going for him, he has more multi-inning saves than anybody in the game the last 2 years. So he does work an awful lot when need be.
But the thing about it that's different is he's had to make a pressure pitch, last 7, 8, 9, 10 pitches.
And he'll try it again. Ball lifted to left. Torres, and Wilson wins the battle. The Giants make it 5 for 5 against the Astros, and Tim Lincecum wins his 5th game of the year. We'll be back to wrap things up from San Francisco right after these messages from your local Fox station.